In today's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, we sit down with Dave to talk all about Gridopolis and see what exactly that word means and what it is. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter, but first a message about our sponsor. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Torres Games, who are bringing Serpent Master back to Kickstarter the first of next month. Serpent Master is a card-driven abstract board game for 1 to 4 players where a player must keep their serpent on top to win. Plus, they're doing a giveaway with us, or a few of them in fact, over there at thegiveawaygeek.com. Enter today and back their Kickstarter on the 1st of August.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Today we're pleased to bring you a game, or maybe it's a city, maybe, I don't know, you be the judge after listening to the interview. But have you ever heard of Gridopolis? Well, we're about to find out what it is. Today we're joined by the creator mastermind behind Gridopolis. Is that how you fall in line with Gridopolis, a 3D strategy game and system? Dave?
I'll take that. Yes. Thanks for having me on your show. And that's a good summary. Creator, founder, innovator, all of the above.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Dave.
I'm looking forward to it, sir.
Awesome. Now, before we jump into what exactly Gridopolis is, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games, Dave?
Well, I've been a kind of a gamer geek my entire life. I have just the best memories of playing all manner of games, board games, strategy games too, with family and friends. And every time relatives came over, that was like the big thing we did. So starting from the beginning, I guess.
And was there a point when you went over to more hobby games as opposed to like Monopoly and Risk?
You know, that's pretty much been the core of the stuff. I branched out to like Pictionary and some of the other stuff that was more entertaining and fun. But I always stuck with those strategy games. And I'm not sure why. I think I had a lot of nieces and nephews. And so that always was whatever they wanted to play, that's what we ended up playing.
Well, there you go. And what are you playing these days?
It's funny. I haven't, since I've been working on this game for about 3 years, I have not had much time to play too many other games. So, but when I do, it's usually some sort of social game, like I mentioned, Pictionary. But going way back, I would say my favorite game-related activity was Legos, just because you could play by yourself and it was kind of open-ended.
Oh, there you go. So you can build whatever you want.
Exactly. And that's kind of where the idea for Gridopolis came from. Partially. It's had multiple inspirations, but that was a big one.
Awesome. Well, speaking of that, word on the street is you have a new game on Kickstarter for a little while longer. What can you tell us about Gridopolis, Dave?
Well, it kind of goes back to my memories of loving to play games with other people. But the problem with some games I see today, and this is something I wanted to avoid from the very beginning of developing this, is there's some extremely complicated games out there. And if you're especially into fantasy games, it just takes hours to learn it and then teach it to other people. And really, you spend more time trying to learn it than you do playing it, at least in the beginning. So I thought, why not kind of take advantage and leverage the existing knowledge from all these strategy games that almost everybody knows. So I try to blend stuff from checkers and chess and tic-tac-toe and be inspired by the creating something three-dimensional in Legos and see if I could come up with a game that just started off as that undefined, if you can believe it.
Okay, awesome. So Gridopolis, it's a game and a system or whatnot. So per se, we sat down, we got a copy of Gridopolis, and me and you sat down to play it. What's my turn going to look like, or what exactly am I doing within Gridopolis?
Well, the first thing you're going to notice different from any other game is it's three-dimensional. So we are pretty generous with the parts. There's enough parts in a box for 4 people to play, 217 separate parts to be exact. And so just the fact that it rises above the table in 3 dimensions is going to be the first thing you see. On a basic turn,
You're not talking about like a checker set, because that's kind of like 3D, or a chess set. You're talking about it's going to go above the table?
yes. What I mean by that is there's multiple levels. When you start off the game, it is at least 3 levels tall. And there's other configurations where you can be taller or shorter. But kind of the game we recommend people start with is 3 separate levels are immediately available. So like with chess or checkers, you're going to move to the right or to the left, and that's it. Quick decision. In this game, you may have 9 different moves each time you go to choose. You may have 15, you can even have 20 different moves because you're not only going forward or sideways, but you can go vertically or down or at any angle on the board set that's allowed.
Oh boy. And how does that play with people like myself? I hear I suffer from AP, or analysis paralysis. How does that go with people for this game?
Well, actually, I think it is just fine because I've noticed a lot of beginners will kind of like help and coach and teach each other. And there's not much to master. I try to keep it very simple. You can literally learn this in a few minutes. And then other people are kind of guiding you, and it becomes a very social activity, which is, I think, one of the things I'm most proud of. People really get into it. It's a whole new way to move and jump and capture people. So that's the basic premise of the game, since I didn't mention that, is you want to eliminate opponents throughout the play of the game. And you do that just by jumping over them. So it's easy to visualize when you're on a flat board, but now you can jump up or down diagonally over somebody. As long as you're in a straight line, you're okay. And you can capture people from a lot of unexpected angles. That's where the fun comes in.
Awesome. And can I earn my piece back? Like if I'm playing chess, I can earn my piece back by getting to a certain point. Is that available?
No, you can't, but we've designed this to be a very flexible modular system. So I would say that you can then modify the rules. So not only is the set modular, and you can build different configurations, the second thing you can do is during a game, you have extra parts. So during a game, you can add or subtract from the grid set. That's another innovation I've never seen before. And the third way is exactly what you're talking about, is you could say, I'm going to add this one new rule, or I'm going to subtract 2 other rules. And at that point, when you have a completely new configuration and new rules, you're starting to invent your own games. And that's what I meant by the game system.
Okay, awesome. So I'm go ahead, and if I'm the last one standing, is that how I know I won then?
That's exactly right. So that's the kind of my favorite way to play. Occasionally I have friends who just want to get done in 30 minutes or a specific time frame. So it's just as easy to play a time game. You just track what you've captured, and you get more points for more valuable of the markers. And then you also get points for however many markers you have left. It's pretty straightforward, and it just depends on what you're interested in.
Okay, awesome. And in talking to your business partner, it sounds like this isn't the first game you've created. Is that right?
That's correct. I've done a lot of games and toys and consumer electronics. Most of my career, I've been an architect and industrial designer. And then more recently, I've been teaching for about 18 years or so at a local design school in Los Angeles. So the course I teach is 3D modeling and rendering and prototyping. So that's kind of where some of this idea came from, to make something that's 3-dimensional, just because I thought that would be a fantastic challenge if we could pull it off.
Awesome. And so with those other games, it looks like this is your first game on Kickstarter. Those other ones, you went a different route?
Yeah, I would say all my other game and toy experience has been directly for clients. For example, I've worked with Mattel and Hasbro and Lego. Lego is actually one of my first clients when I started my design company. But I've probably done the most projects for Hasbro, over 40 different things. Probably about 20 for Mattel. So, but even more recently, I've been doing a lot of educational products and toys. Educational Insights is a pretty well-known company. I've done about, I'd say, at least 12 or 15 projects for them, all in the educational category. So these are things like, telescopes and microscopes.
Okay, awesome. And speaking of the educational process and everything, Gridopolis in education, how does it fit in?
It's a great question. This was kind of a surprise. I just wanted to, when I started, I wanted to come up with a really cool, unique, innovative way to play games that kind of let you modify things and change things and be more of a system. But we realized there's a lot of STEM applications to this. That was another nice surprise during the testing and development, that all these skills to play strategy games were kind of magnified when you got into 3D. So in a strategy game, you're trying to do some planning and strategizing and critical thinking, and you're applying logic. So with our game, you then take those and you go into 3 dimensions. So you have to be visualizing and planning ahead in 3 dimensions. And the final thing we think is what really sets this apart from most other STEM activities is it's social. So you have to play with your friends. Now, a lot of STEM activities, they can be solo and you're by yourself. So in that, there's been a lot of study, can lead to problems. Some kids just spend too much screen time and parents are very concerned. So that kind of evolved through all the testing in this process, that, hey, we've got something that's very educational and analytical, and people get together to do it.
Okay, awesome. And you talked of testing and whatnot. If I recall, you said you've been working on it for 3 years or so. During that time, was there ever anything you had to scrap from Gridopolis because it just wouldn't work?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Since I teach a class in prototyping and 3D modeling, we were changing this set almost every week. I teach 1 day a week at Otis College of Art and Design. So I would make changes or come up with ideas and bring it into the class. So my class was kind of many hours long, so people could work on their own projects. But a lot of them just elected to help me because it's kind of related to what they're studying. So one thing we did was when you make an achievement, like in checkers, you get kinged, and we have something similar to that. You get 2 chips stacked on top of each other. Well, in a 3-dimensional structure, you don't really notice that it's that much different because there could be something blocking it or it's on the other side. That never happens on a flat board. But in 3D, people couldn't tell what was going on. So we kept changing and testing and ended up with what we think is the most successful way to do it right now. And that is the marker piece. You flip it over when you have that king achievement. So it looks completely different. Starts off as a pawn. And then when you flip it over, it's got a little bit of a crown on the bottom side. And it's very distinctive. So immediately you can tell which is which.
Okay, I can see that. So that's pretty cool. And then, so once you've attacked somebody or jumped over somebody, it becomes a king, or how does that happen?
Well, the king is, this is again very similar to checkers. So as you move across the 3-dimensional structure, you need to try to get to your opponent's home row. So there's some little markers on there that indicate that's where your opponent started. And that was another thing that kind of evolved through the testing, because this is another thing that really surprised us. During the testing, you start spinning the board around and you lose track. Halfway through the game, all the markers have moved and you can't tell where you started and where your destination is. So to answer your question, everyone starts off as a marker. Their marker is, a pawn, and you can only move 1 space at a time. If you can manage to survive and get to one of your opponent's starting home row, you flip that over and it becomes a king. Now the game gets really interesting. And I kind of nicknamed this like the game goes into second gear, because a lot of games, when all of the parts start clearing out, like towards the end of chess or checkers, it tends to slow down. And then you can also have stalemates. So we gave the king the extra ability. He can now move 2 spaces in a row and in any direction. So all those limitations are kind of released from the beginning of the game, where everyone has to move away from where they started. That kind of promotes some action. But when you're a king, you get this special abilities, and that kind of speeds the game back up just when you think it's going to kind of slow down.
Okay, awesome. And when you talk about 2 spaces or 1 space, does that include the space your opponent's on, or probably not?
Well, to capture somebody, you got to jump over them in a straight line, so that would not count. In fact, we kind of made tweaks to the way checkers works and chess works, and just invented some of our own methods. So yeah, you jump over somebody, and then if you have another jump available, you can keep jumping, and there's actually no limit. And it's kind of unexpected when you first play this because you can jump vertically and capture one guy. If you're playing 4 people, there's a lot of opportunity. So you may have a second jump over another person and then keep going and jump over a third person. So you're able to kind of connect a lot of actions or activities and just keep going. And the surprising thing is you have more options than you may realize because you can go up and down and vertical and sideways and all the things I've mentioned.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and just I'd encourage anybody listening, make sure you head on over to their Kickstarter page so you can look at it because, yeah, otherwise you might kind of be confused on what exactly it is. But yeah, like you said, it is a 3D board, and it sounds like replayability is a lot because you can modify the board. It's not just stuck in one position or whatnot.
Exactly. So we have one recommendation for people to kind of learn the game and get comfortable with it. It's like I said, it's 3 levels. Everyone starts in the middle level. That way you have kind of a neutral starting point where you can go up or down. Everything's accessible. But then we noticed that it just seems way too obvious to me that we could start rearranging these. So we came up with a 2-player setup or grid set that's just a vertical tower. So you play, and the beautiful thing about this is you play the exact same rules. There's like less than a dozen rules. Once you understand them and can apply them in 3D, you can now take the square board or the tower and just play a completely different experience, but using the same simple set of rules. The third design we've got published is called Supercube. So it's pretty simple to visualize. I know this is a lot of 3-dimensional stuff, and I'm just trying to explain them verbally, not the best way to do it. But just think of a cube where people are on the outside of a 3-dimensional 6-sided cube. So that's just a kind of an inside-out, weird way to play a game, but it actually works really well. Now, the one thing I didn't mention too much, if you don't mind me just rambling on further.
Go right ahead.
Is at the beginning of the game, I think which we're already in 3D and we're having all this other innovations, but another thing that kind of came out of the testing is you've got a construction set. It's modular, it's flexible. So we thought, what if you could change that in the middle of a game? And that actually is another one of the really innovative things that just works surprisingly well. So everyone gets, they build the grid set and they get 10 extra parts for each person. So at any time during the game, you can move your marker like we've been talking, or you can add to the grid set, or you can subtract from the grid set. So that means that you can add a new little landing pads anywhere they fit at any time. And now someone can jump there. They can build up and try to escape, or try to build out and try to hide. Usually it doesn't work, but you can pretty much go in any direction that you want by using these extra pieces. So it's kind of like if you're playing checkers and you could suddenly add new squares off to the side, except we have multiple levels. So you're going up and out in all directions.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, like I said, make sure you go ahead and check out the Kickstarter page so you can get a better idea of just how exactly it looks. Now, you said 2-player variant. How many players does this fill? How many people can play this game?
Well, with the basic set we have, and there's only one right now, we have enough parts for 4 players. That means you could play 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people equally well. We have not tested this, but if you bought a second box, you might be able to play 5, 6, 7, or 8 different players. So we're probably going to release in about a year or less 4 different colors, so you could do that a little more successfully. So that's the only challenge we have is you need, every person needs to have a different color. Right now there are 4 colors, so you can just build like a superset, but eventually we'll be releasing 4 other unique colors, giving a total of 8. So I think that's pretty original. Now, the one reason we haven't pursued it very much is a 4-player game can take a while to finish, especially with beginners. Yeah, up to an hour. If you've played a few times, it can be as quick as 40 minutes. But I'm just thinking here out loud. If you had 8 people, it might take a long time for it to be your turn.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so that's something to consider if you go ahead and play test that and whatnot. So now, when it comes to Gridopolis, a 3D strategy game and system, what makes your game pop? Is when my audience should go check out the Kickstarter page, and if they like what they see, back it today, Dave.
What makes it different? Well, we are unique and innovative in 3 dimensions and also part of a system. So I don't think there's anything quite like it. In fact, not even close. So that's the only challenge we have, is just it's so unique and original. People are occasionally intimidated, but like I said, we've used the rules that people already know. And it actually is much easier and faster to learn than most people would expect. So there's no reason to be intimidated. In fact, if you go to the Kickstarter page, which you mentioned, just search for Gridopolis, Gridopolis. It's like a grid and a city. Then I think you'll be surprised. You can look at the images. I designed this to be very beautiful and attractive. We've got lots of videos to support people. We've got a YouTube page where one of my background's in teaching, as I mentioned. So we've made instructional videos for every facet of the game on our YouTube channel, which is also linked on the Kickstarter page.
Okay, awesome. And I know sometimes people have like I don't know, sometimes they're scared when it says educational and a game in the same sentence, but you actually had some tabletop gamer viewers review it. It looks like my friend Michael Wright from the Unfiltered Gamer reviewed it. What did he have to say? What did he think about it?
We've had so many reviews. I forget exactly what he said, but we put him up on our review page, and he loved it. I think he was most impressed by it being a lot of fun and original at the same time. To me, there's been too many games that just are slightly redesigned or incremental extensions or kind of the same old thing. So that was one of my objectives when I first started working on this project, is just have it be fun, easy to learn, but very different and distinctive. And I know you mentioned it's educational. We're finding a large or kind of a wide array of interest from every direction. I know the educators, homeschoolers, teachers love it for the educational capabilities. But on the other hand, a lot of gamer geeks love it because it's something new, and they can be very creative and experimental with this if they want to. I mean, you can pretty much just use the designs we come up with. You don't have to do your own designs, but that's what some people like. So it's just another cool thing that you have this opportunity.
Okay, awesome. And we'll make sure we leave links in the show notes so they can click on over and check it out. Okay, yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I know you sold me, so if anybody else listening likes what they've seen here, go ahead and make sure you're back. Gridopolis is a 3D strategy game and system today. So, and if you hurry, depending on what time this is released or whatnot, it looks like you still have we have quite a bit left on the early bird level. Still?
Yes. I think we have, I don't know the exact number, probably have a few hundred left for the early birds. So that's why we would like people to go check it out right away. We're going to only be running until August 22, I believe. So we're getting down to the last portion of the campaign. So I really encourage people, if you're the least bit interested, just go check it out. We've got lots of videos and renderings for you to look at. And then if you want to pledge, we do have a lot of early birds left.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely go ahead and check it out if you like what you see. Make sure you back Gridopolis today. So that's awesome. Now, mine is coming to your hometown to stalk you. How can people go about keeping up with you and what you're doing with Gridopolis or any other games that you might come out with later on?
Well, we have a lot of future extensions planned for Gridopolis. I'm not going to really focus on anything else except this one game. It's got so many capabilities, really. We're going to have a lot of other things tying into it every year for a long time. But if you want to follow us, you can use @Gridopolis pretty much everywhere. That's on Facebook, that's on Instagram and Twitter, just @Gridopolis. And then our website is gridopolis.games.
Awesome. And last but not least, most importantly at the current time, is Gridopolis on Kickstarter. Make sure you become a backer today so you can go ahead and get this awesome gaming system that it looks like, so you don't overpromise and underdeliver. It looks like you're looking at about March of next year. Is that right?
Yes. Actually, one thing I'd like to mention to everybody is we've already produced a short run. So I know sometimes with Kickstarter, people have difficulty finding a factory and ironing out the bugs. Well, that's not going to be our problem because I've got quite a few years in design and manufacturing. So to make sure that this process went as smoothly as possible, we produced a couple hundred sets last year. So they're just about all gone and sold out. Those are what we've been using to send to a lot of the reviewers, like your friend, the Unfiltered Gamer. So this next run for Kickstarter is going to be the second run, and we just want to do it bigger and better and have much longer run and much wider distribution.
Awesome. Yeah, most definitely. Anybody listening should go check out Gridopolis on Kickstarter. We'll leave links in the show notes, like we said. Now, we don't want to keep you all day. Well, I guess it's night over there, but we really appreciate you coming on, getting geeky with Gamer Leaf with us to talk all about Gridopolis, a 3D strategy game and system that'll be on Kickstarter through the 22nd of August. We really appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you, sir. I really enjoyed being on your show, and I appreciate it.
No problem. Wow, now I even more want to play Gridopolis. I think the kids would love it. If you feel the same way and want to check it out, make sure you run on over to their Kickstarter page, and if you like what you see, back it before you miss this great game. Now, let's go ahead and go with Battery and a Leaf.
Kickstarter Corner!
In the near future, cloning dinosaurs is cheap, easy, and commonplace. As public demand for even state-of-the-art dinosaur zoos waned, underground fight clubs quickly became popular and began producing huge dividends. Trainers began making highly illegal genetic modifications to their dinosaurs' stock. Numerous high-profile accidents calls for international cooperation in regulating the new industry. With millions of dollars involved, several countries began to legalize prehistoric pit fighting. Specialized training schools appeared, and soon dinosaur fighting was legal worldwide. The Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting League was formed, and in just a few years became the world's largest professional sports organization. The most successful dinosaurs and their trainers are some of the world's richest, most famous, or infamous celebrities in the world. Will you be among them? Did that sound familiar to you? Well, good thing I'm here then. This is a story of Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting. It's a miniature board game for 2 to 6 players with playtime of 30 to 45 minutes, no downtime, and no player elimination. If you dare try Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting, you'll step into a world where you control these ancient beasts, where every stamp of the foot, twitch of the tail, or flap of the wings could be their last. The game is easy to learn, fast-paced, quick to set up, has a high replay value, and is just great fun. You can play one-off scrimmage battles, a series of battles in a tournament setting, or use their campaign rules to run a stable of dinosaurs through an entire league season. You can add in mutations, tech upgrades, and training to ready your prized prehistoric gladiator to take on any beast in the pit. Sound fun? I thought so. So make sure you back their Kickstarter campaign for Ultimate Dinosaur Fighting before Thursday the 15th of August. Tell them Gamer Leaf sent you. You've got dice. You've got plenty of solid colored dice. I knew that. But what you don't have enough of is multicolored dice. How could you? That's what I thought. Well, fret no longer, as Bryce's Dice are now on Kickstarter with Anthology of Dice The Beginning, which is a line of polyhedral dice sets with tricolor and dual color effects for Bryce's Dice. Y'all made tie-dyed shirts as kids? Well, now Bryce's Dice are going to make you the equivalent to bring to game night. If you like the sound of that, make sure you head on over to check out their campaign via the link in our show notes. If they get enough backers through this link, we might even do a giveaway with them over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Once you've backed it, make sure you comment on their Kickstarter page, letting them know that Gamer Leaf sent you. Begin your journey as one of the 5 basic classes and battle your way through a branching campaign where you choose your own path in an attempt to overthrow the evil queen, Domine. With each encounter, you will level up and unlock over 15 elite classes, adding new actions, equipment, and abilities. Will your team find the right combination of classes and powers in time to stop Queen Domine? Let the adventure begin. Sound familiar to you? Well, good thing I'm here. This is Adventure Tactics Dominates Tower. It's an encounter-based, campaign-driven, cooperative deck builder. You know GamerLeaf loves deck builders. That launched to Kickstarter on the 29th of July, as well as blew past their almost $30,000 funding goal on the same day. This isn't your everyday board game that looks like an RPG, as you don't have to stay stuck in the same class over and over again, but you still get the benefits of the previous class. But I'll let the game's designer tell you more about that. Make sure you catch my sit down with Nick, the designer. Sure to hit your favorite podcasting app on Thursday, the 1st of August. So make sure you subscribe to Getting Geeky with GamerLeaf, where you catch your favorite podcasts. And if this is after the 1st of August, make sure you come back so you don't miss out on the adventure. Back Adventure Tactics today. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geekfold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. GamerLeaf out.
GamerLeaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if GamerLeaf's luck holds up.